Alright, I've washed my face, but I haven't brushed my teeth, which puts me in a perfect mindset to talk about Love Me If You Dare, the French movie we watched in high school that I don't think we should have been allowed to watch. So, Love Me If You Dare. Kind of fucked up. Wasn't a fever dream, because I looked it up. At first I thought it was called Dare or Not Dare, which is a weird grammatical thing that doesn't translate over from French, but it's called Love Me If You Dare, and it stars Marion Cotillard, who you might know from Inception as Mal, or more commonly Dan Brown's the Da Vinci Code, I think, maybe, I don't know. Was she Mary Magdalene's descendant in that one? She was probably proof that Jesus fucked. So, Marion Cotillard. She was the female protagonist in this fucked up movie about two childhood friends who grew up in a pretty like neglectful childhood home. Not necessarily, I don't remember if it was abusive per se, but it was pretty neglectful, and they came up with this game where they had this music box, and so you would give this music box over to the other person with a dare. They would complete the dare, and they would come back to you with the music box and give you a dare. And as children, it was just a way to pass the time. It was a way to bond, to, I remember they were at some fancy, like, gala or something, and they're hiding under the tables together, and then they gave each other dares to go mess with the wait staff or something, I don't know. But they were, like, pretty innocent as a fucked up French film can be. And so these dares that come from one person to the other person through this box start to escalate when they continue this game into their adulthood. And see, this isn't even a movie review because I can't remember most of the movie, because it was like, God, how many years was it? 8 years ago I watched this movie, and I just remembered it because there's a super fucked up ending. Spoilers for Love Me If You Dare, which came out in like 2003 or something. If you haven't watched it and you want to, based on my very great description of it, don't watch this part. Also, if you're uncomfortable with, I'm trying to think of what content I wanted to give, just if you're uncomfortable with death, or being buried alive, also stop watching this. Basically, the ending, okay, it escalates from childhood games to entertain themselves into more fucked up and wild and daring things where they are at risk of being arrested, or just like they're two white people, so as arrested as they could get. But what happens is that they sort of like push at the boundaries of what is proper and what the dare allows them to do. Like, it sort of frees their psyche in a bit. And so they carry on this game, even though they both have relationships. I think one of them gets married, but they're still, like, you know, in love with each other or whatever. And this childhood game starts to impact their relationships. And they basically come to the realization that they are meant for each other. Their fucked up childhood game was a way for them to keep in contact with each other and keep hurting each other. It's not very healthy, but it. I've trying to talk around it, but like basically at the end, they climb into a pit, and it's unclear whether or not it was already like an already dug grave that they climbed into, but a concrete truck comes and pours concrete into the pit, and they're in the pit making out. And I don't know if it was supposed to be framed as like, oh my god, they're gonna die together, they're in love, they're gonna die together, the last act will be of them kissing. Oh, that's so sweet. It was super fun. Like, I remember everyone in class started going, we could not believe what we were watching, because we were like in like grade 11. Like, why would you show a 15-year-old this? 15-year-olds are the most susceptible to the romanticization of like dying with the one you love. Anyways, so that was the movie. Not much of a movie review, but I am not much of a movie review channel. It was just on my mind, and like, why would you, even as like just script writing standpoint, why are all French films like this? Comment below if you also have a fucked up French film experience. There's another one, which, I mean, I'm not a YouTuber, I'll just tell you this one, I don't have to save it for another video. Basically, there's something called erotomania, which I think is a real psychological disorder where you have psychosis and you create this sort of delusion in your head that you are in love with someone else and that person is in love with you and you are in a relationship, and it's very, very difficult to live with, and I don't want to diminish the experience of people who have psychosis or experience delusions, but this film, oh boy, it's hard to talk about because it was during our mental health unit in French class, and in hindsight, what was the point of that? Because the film kind of demonizes the whole, so basically this girl, she's meant to house sit for one of her neighbors, and one of her neighbors knows she's like super responsible and studious and like a good neighbor, and I can trust you with my house, and we have this super special plant under like a glass thing, like in Beauty and the Beast, and you have to water it so like frequently that it's like super important, but like we trust you or whatever. And so while she's house sitting, she is in contact with another friend of hers, and she's, you know, kind of upset that her boyfriend, you know, is seeing another woman perhaps, or like blowing off their dates, and she gets into these sort of low depressive moods about it, and then it switches perspective, and we see it from the guy's perspective, and this man does not know who she is. He happened to be passing by her when she was like going to the house to house sit, and he had a bouquet of roses for his wife. I don't know what they were celebrating, but he was so happy and exuberant that he wanted to do something good, so he gave one of the roses to her. And I think as someone who may have already been susceptible to delusions, that is when her erotomania began to manifest, because she took that as a sign that they were now in a relationship, and he was her boyfriend. It was it's actually very, very sad, but basically the guy does not know her at all, and he's living with his wife, who I think is expecting a child. I think that was a celebration. And then these increasingly dangerous things start happening to his wife and him, and it's because of this woman who he gave this flower to. And at the end of this movie, there's a confrontation, and the woman, the female protagonist, pushes him down a flight of stairs, and then she is arrested, and the original homeowners come back and see that their house has been completely trashed because she's been so lost in her delusions that she hasn't been taking care of anything, and she's succumbed to her obsession, and she's made like this incredibly creepy, like, she's an art student, I think, so she's made this incredibly creepy bread sculpture of him on the wall, and it's moldy bread, and it looks like skin. When they do the camera zoom, it looks like skin. It's incredibly creepy. I don't know why this was in, again, our mental health unit in French class. And so she pushes him down a flight of stairs. He breaks his leg. She has to go to a psychiatric institution to get treatment. And the movie basically ends on a cliffhanger where she's like, I understand now that it was just all a dream, but isn't that what love is to everyone, doctor? A wonderful dream? And then somehow the doctor's just like, alright, you're good to go, bye. And then one of the caretakers, who's cleaning up the rooms of the patients, moves aside the cabinet and finds that all the pills that she was supposed to be taking for her psychosis have been made into another portrait of the man she is in love with. And so we get that shot. We get a shot of her walking away, and we get a shot of the man with his broken leg and his wife and his children, left to wonder what will happen to them next. So that's my experience with fucked up French films. Again, let me know if you've also watched some fucked up French films in French class. Is there a non-fucked up French film, like a contemporary French film that isn't, and staying in its, whether it's production or like concept? Again, I'm not saying erotomania is insanity or like psychosis insanity. It's a very serious psychological problem, and people do deserve treatment without being demonized. But the way it was portrayed, man, I don't know. Anyways, I'm gonna go to sleep now without brushing my teeth. I did wash my face, as I said, so I am halfway there, and I will see you all next time.